Hello everybody, welcome back to another Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational replay. This is going to be Game 3 of a best of 3 set for the group stages between No Tidehunter and Fnatic. I am Basekip, bringing you guys this game. A quick recap as to where we are in this set. No Tidehunter come out of the blocks in Game 1 with a very aggressive start, a very aggressive pushing strategy, and clinch that game fairly quickly. Game 2, Fnatic comes straight back and get a ton of farm between Lone Druid and Phantom Lancer, both of them with barely any death to their name by the end of the game. And yeah, pretty much just walk away with it. Unfortunately, NTH not able to do a whole lot with the aggressive start that they got off to, and didn't really get too much done with that first Aegis that they managed to grab. But anyway, this is a fresh start. This is Game 3, and this is obviously the game for the set. So welcome back. I don't really have any announcements to make. Again, for anyone in the Brisbane area, I'll probably be at LAN Smash this coming weekend. They've got an event going on with a Dota 2 competition as well, so I'm probably going to be just playing some games in general there. I don't think I'll be participating in the competition because I've offered to cast, so hopefully they'll take me up on that one and I'll see some of you guys there to be casting. But anyway, the game at hand is Fnatic versus NTH. We've actually got a Wisp band to start things out from Fnatic, so interesting to see that. Interesting to see how popular the hero is sort of in European Dota versus, I guess, Asian Dota, if you want to sort of generalize, but I guess more Chinese style Dota. And Phantom Lancer is getting banned out here by No Tidehunter. Still very, very worthy of sort of a first ban. So Fnatic, the question is whether or not they ban Coddle or Bat Rider. We shall have to see. Teams have really not wanted to play against Bat Rider for a while, and I'm not sure how in practice people are in terms of dealing with him. So I might just say that as the ban here from Fnatic. No Tidehunter probably take Keeper of the Light. It's very much in their style. No, okay. Chen's going to be banned. No Tidehunter are going to take Bat, and Keeper of the Light is going to stay in the pool, more than likely just to be taken by Fnatic. So Fnatic trying to lock out that push strat. Ake is an absolutely fantastic Chen, so I don't think it's too surprising to see it be banned out, but obviously it shifts things a little bit as far as expectations are concerned for the draft. So we're not going to have Ake Chen enabling a very easy overall push strat for NTH here. We're going to have Fnatic with sort of the counter push right now, and NTH again sort of find themselves, at least for a little while, in the aggressive seat with that Bat Rider pickup. I'm just going to close my window, guys. Sorry about that one. There is obviously, and I can hear this in all of my recordings, a little bit of background noise from my computer. There's air rushing through it and whatnot. I need to clean out some of my my radiators and whatnot. It's all running a little bit hot, and so the fans are working a little bit hard to push everything through. I'm still tweaking things. I've still been pretty lazy as far as my setup is concerned, so hopefully that's not too distracting. And obviously now I've closed the window, so you shouldn't have any car noise or anything like that. But back to the game. So Fnatic, they're going to choose to pick up a Lone Druid here. It worked out fantastically for them last game in the hands of Trixie, and it just sort of gives them really nice overall push with the Keeper of the Light. And when you've got Keeper of the Light, the other team doesn't, and obviously that's just great for you. It's probably the only hero of his type in terms of just raw counter pushing power with that Illuminate, bar maybe Rubik with an Illuminate as well. But NTH, Shadow Demon and Nature's Prophet, so looking pretty aggressive from them. We'll see how greedy they're going to be about this Nature's Prophet, whether they're going to be running a jungler, a duo, and then a full offlane, or whether the Nature's Prophet is going to be sort of a half offlane, half jungle, depending on how the situation works out for him. And it's going to be a Shadow Demon as well, so a very strong overall support, some nice ganking there too. NTH might even be going fairly early, fairly aggressive, maybe try and pick up an Enchantress to go with it. Enchantress isn't necessarily great with Shadow Demon because Enchantress doesn't really bring the same level of damage that Chen does. So when I normally think of these pairings, it's normally Chen plus Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon is fantastic because you get a disruption. You can set up for a clap, or you can set up for a hoof stomp on the Centaur. And then Chen's nuke works fantastically with Soulcatcher. Meanwhile, with Enchantress, you pretty much need to go for a more Shadow Poison oriented build because Enchantress doesn't really bring any burst damage of her own. So normally you'd expect to see someone like Rubik instead if you're going for an Enchantress if you're going for an Enchantress roaming gank, since Rubik brings a little bit more of his own damage and doesn't really rely on having the amplification or anything like that. And you don't really like to have Shadow Demon and Rubik on the same team because you get there's a lot of disable, but you don't really have it's 2 setup disables effectively. You can get more value out of having someone like a Lina or something like that. Lina, Leshrac, anyone to follow up on one of those setup stuns. So that's that spiel off to the side, and after talking about Enchantress for just a long time, Fnatic just going to choose to throw out a ban there. NTH, interestingly enough, going to choose to ban out Nakes, so realizing that Fnatic will use the Lone Druid as their offlaner if they have to, and they will pick up another carry as well. And then Dying going to be thrown out there as a ban. Normally, I mean, if you're reading into that, you could say, well, NTH might be aggressively tri-laning. They don't want to be tri-laning into an Undying, but at the same time, you don't really want to tri-lane into Keeper of the Light either. And you don't want to be tri-laned against by Keeper of Light and Undying as well. Coddle is actually very, very strong in an aggressive tri-lane situation, so... NTH looks like they're sort of just going for their defensive tactics right now. We'll see what sort of carry they're going to be able to get their hands on. Luna has already been banned out. Obviously a very strong staple for NTH in a lot of the games that they play. So we'll have to see. Hopefully they'll be able to get quite a bit done with the Shadow Demon, pick up someone like a Lina or Leshrac, do a bit of roaming ganking, maybe try and kill off the puck. It can be difficult to connect those ganks, but Batrider makes things a little bit easier. You can sort of get those disables off more quickly, and Disruption should be enough for Batrider to sit there and spam and hopefully be able to, ping aside, be able to get the lasso off. And Faceless Forward, another very hard carry, is going to be banned out here by Fnatic, and NTH just choosing to ban out Gyrocopter. I don't know if we've actually seen a lot of carry Gyrocopter from NTH. It has sort of been the trend in the rest of the European scene, but they seem to run him a little bit more as sort of that support, the Ake Copter, if you will. So NTH right now looking for a support and a primary farmer, and Fnatic could be looking for another farmer, or they could be looking for 2 heroes to make an aggressive tri-lane, and then to sort of bring it down and work down whatever NTH have got going on their safe lane. It's just not really NTH's style to be running an aggressive tri-lane, and they don't really have the heroes for it at the moment. They could still pick up someone like a Sven and then another stun. They've got Lina, which works out quite well in that regard. And Lina, a really obvious pick with the Shadow Demon. You get Disruption, you get a Light Strike Array follow-up, you get a ton of burst damage, and Soul Catcher plus Laguna Blade is just dead heroes any day of the week, so... None too surprising there from No Tidehunter. They've still got the option to go aggressive. They could just pick up a Sven or something like that. They've got double ranged as well. Shadow Demon full range? I want to say yes. I think Lina is definitely... When I say full range, I mean 600. Shadow Demon might be a little bit shorter. I'd need to confirm. I think they're both 600 though. So our mid matchup is going to be Batrider against Puck. Not bad for Puck. Does have a couple, can reset stacks a little bit, avoid them. And doesn't really care too much about being zoned out. A bit, it's difficult for Batrider to just make a go. So the stacks aren't really too relevant. The turn speed reduction does obviously suck for trying to throw out an orb and run away in the opposite direction. So we shall have to see, and hopefully NTH will be able to get some ganking done with their supports, since they don't really have super big jungle farming supports like they normally would with the Keeper of the Light. Though Lina can sort of fill that role. You can stack up some camps, you can nuke them down, but obviously not quite at the same rate the Keeper of the Light gets it done. So right now from Fnatic, it's really, this next pick is going to determine whether or not it's going to be an aggressive tri-lane. Oh, okay, maybe not this pick. Whether or not it's going to be an aggressive tri-lane, or whether or not it's going to be a defensive tri-lane with an off-lane Lone Druid. The Jakiro sort of could be an aggressive tri-lane hero, but then they'd need their farmer in that tri-lane to be set up. It could be Sven. I mean, it'll also depend on what No Tidehunter are able to pick up here. So they sort of need to be the aggressors. They don't need to be the aggressors in this game, but it would be nice if they could get some stuff done early with Batrider. Not be forced to sit back and let the Nature's Prophet be a big split pushing engine later on in the game, so as sort of their way to win out. So what carries have we got left? It's going to be Anti-Mage. Okay, so talking about split push, we're just going to add a little bit more, and this is going to be a fairly defensive strategy, it looks like, from NTH here. Just sort of pushing. We'll see how much S4 is going to be able to get done on bat. They do have some good ganking roaming supports, and they've always got the presence of the Nature's Prophet to jump in as well, so they can turn situations around. Fnatic, pretty good lineup to try and deal with that split push style of play. They've got the Keeper of the Light, and NTH should have relying in this instance on the Nature's Prophet and the Batrider to be able to jump past towers, lock down the Keeper of the Light, kill him off, and enable those pushes. And Fnatic, I don't think it would necessarily be a bad strategy for them right now to pick up a second farmer, a second sort of overall carry. Well, okay, so a second farmer, a second sort of overall carry to sort of secure that late game a little bit more, but Fnatic, they're just going to say, well, we're just going to push. We've got Lone Druid, we've got Lycan, and if you are not standing by your towers ready to defend them and you don't have a fortification, then they are gone. Blink of an eye, the Bear plus Lycan are just going to shred anything. So Fnatic have really good counter push. They've got answers to the no Tidehunter split push, and they have a fantastic amount of push of their own. NTH have some pretty good ways to deal with sort of clumpy melee heroes. Lone Druid and Lycan both definitely want to be in the thick of things, and Batrider, Nature's Prophet, and Lina definitely not bad with sort of AoE suppression. You can get some sprouts going on, you can get some light strike arrays, you can get a single stack of sticky napalm is going to be an absolute pain for the two Fnatic sort of carries at the moment. So we shall have to see how this game plays out, but we're going to be getting underway right now. So over on the side of Fnatic, we're going to have Era playing the Lycan. Trixie is again going to be on the Lone Druid. Hani is going to be on the Puck. We've got Fly on the Jakiro, and that leaves No Tail to play the Keeper of the Light. Over on the side of No Tidehunter, we've got S4 heading towards mid as that Batrider. We've got EGM on the Shadow Demon. We've got Lodaberg playing the Anti-Mage. Ake is going to be on the Lina, and that leaves Admiral Bulldog to play the offlane / jungle Nature's Prophet, and just sort of sorting out his starting items at the moment. We'll have to see what he goes for. It'll help us sort of determine a little bit whether or not he's going to be jungling or whether or not he's going to be offlaning. It really comes down to a question of whether he grabs a regen. Sometimes for an offlane Nature's Prophet, we would even see him being, pulled some regen, but looks like he's probably just going to be heading up whenever the wave pushes in and probably just start off in the jungle for now. Trying to rush towards that Midas as quickly as he possibly can. So, let's have a quick check in on warding. NTH already getting some de-warding done. Getting a sentry down on the low ground and unblocking this camp, so no Tail looks like he's okay. What have we got going on? So this is what's happening. Trixie is going to block mid for Hani so that he can camp the rune, I believe. Definitely looks like Hani is prepared for that mid matchup against Batrider. He's got a magic stick, and he's been pooled his regen as well, so that he's not actually too far behind as far as the mid matchup is concerned, and trying to get that bottle out. So, looking pretty good right now. This ward, not bad from No Tail, but knowing No Tidehunter, they're going to be running a defensive tri-lane. Just looking at their heroes, you can sort of tell. And while this ward is nice vision of the top rune, and it gives you a little bit of vision across to the opposite hill to get some vision of S4, it's not really going to cover Hani from any ganks that would be coming from the bottom lane. So either relying on relatively passive play from the NTH supports, or just Hani being able to escape from whatever happens. It looks like we're going to have Trixie just disconnect for the time being. So Trixie not going to risk anything on the off lane. Is just going to head straight into the jungle, and you can see that he's been planning this from the word go. He's got a Culling Blade, and he's got a Stout picked up. No regen, no preparations for Tranquil Boots, nothing like that. So he's just going to be straight into the jungle and just farming up there. Though, as we saw, he was able to get some stuff done in the last game as the sort of jungle Lone Druid, and keep the pace as far as experience was concerned, keep the pace as far as gold is concerned, and actually became a really big threat as the game goes on. And the other nice thing for Trixie in this game is that if Lycan can start enabling a couple of pushes, then he's going to be getting some good gold regardless, just from bringing those towers down. So far on mid, S4 starts out really aggressively. I mean, dominating as far as last is concerned. Hani just forced back because of all of those. Well, forced back because of all the sticky napalm charges, and S4 actually making a go of this right now. Not tanking at the tower or anything like that. Hani can't get a reset off just yet, but S4 half the duration left on this Firefly. Hani turns around, and we've got an Illuminate flying in as well. So good rotation in from Fnatic. S4 as always, it seems, going really aggressive on his mid-heroes, trying to get things done right as he gets his bottle delivered, so making full use of the health that he does have available to start things out, not wasting any of that health or mana. We've got a smoke out from NTH, so they are actually going aggressive to start things out with these supports, and looks like they very carefully orchestrated level 2 on EGM while Ake is only at level 1, and now they're just going to head up as the duo. They don't really have, I don't know, the killing power to bring down the lone druid with only a single nuke from the light strike array. And they are now going to be spotted as they try and walk back down by this Fnatic ward. So Hani should be absolutely fine. This should be unsuccessful from NTH. Will Ake be able to connect this down? There should be a phase shift. Oh, catches it right as Hani comes back out. Nicely done by NTH. Looks like Ake might die to the tower. No, not quite. So first blood is going to be drawn by NTH on mid. Nicely played by them. A good rotation, and yeah, unfortunately, Hani getting caught out. Couldn't quite make it away with the stacks of sticky napalm, despite presumably having vision right as those supports came down from the high ground. So Fnatic going for a really early, really aggressive push up on top. Bring of Bass already turned on. Arrow's going to get the last hit on that tower. There's nobody really here that they're enabling. Trixie is now actually headed down towards bot. And the supports are just going to run a couple of pulls. Bulldog just hanging out in the jungle right now. So yeah, sort of farming positions for a little bit. A first blood for NTH and a first tower for Fnatic. Leaves experience in favor of NTH at the moment, but gold pretty much nothing in it right now. Who actually drew that first blood? It was Ake, so it's just going to be a flying courier. It's just going to be some wards. Not a huge advantage for S4 on mid, though the kill already sort of starting to the kill already starting to show up sort of in the last hit score, and Hani already behind by quite a bit of it. Well, not actually that much experience, but just a little bit. And the bear tries to get a pull off down on bot, but looks like it will just die. And another 100 gold for Ake. Unfortunate trying to pull in a wave with the siege creep. It does a lot of damage to the bear. Unless I'm messing up my I'm messing up my attack types. That would be something I'd have to confirm. I feel like it does a reasonable amount of damage to the bear, but at the same time it's siege damage. I'm not sure of the bear's armor type. Hani's already thrown out his orb, so the supports might just go in super aggressive on him right now. No, it looks like NTH actually going to be walking around looking for Trixie. He's only level 2. Loda should be trying to push this wave underneath the tower very aggressively right now. Maybe just bring down the ranged creep immediately. No, in they come. Bulldog TPing in as well. Trixie gets stunned up, and NTH with some very aggressive play draw a second kill. Nicely done. Bulldog TP down. Doesn't actually have enough to summon some treants, but I think NTH should be able to turn this into a first tower of their own as well. Just slapping away there. So, nicely played from them so far. Fortification will pop from Fnatic just to try and buy a little bit of time. Try and get the last hit on to not Loda, basically. But Loda able to get it in the end. Nicely played by the veteran carry. So, both teams sort of in farming positions right now, but NTH equalizing with towers. Definitely in a better spot, and mid lane working out fantastically for S4 right now. Well, Hani just sort of forced to sit back, be a little bit more passive at the moment. And Fnatic looks like they're going to go for the tier 2. NTH not really the same opportunity. And if Fnatic want to stop trading at any time, they can just TP the little Keeper of the Light across to bot. But S4 comes in. He's going in aggressively on 3 heroes. Does get hit by the Ice Path, but gets the drag back on Fly. And Jakiro now maybe in a little bit of trouble. Arrow's going to turn himself around. Fly still dropping low. S4 out of mana. Looks like he's going to drop. Not quite. Still just barely alive. The Liquid Fire will not finish him off. An indecision on Fnatic's part as to whether or not they could save him. Fly was probably dead regardless, but they missed that on the kill on S4 in the end. So still a 3-kill lead for NTH. Fnatic do manage to bring down the tower. It was last hit by No Tail, so maybe not the best outcome there. But support's not going to be unhappy with a little bit of extra gold. Era already has his Vlads up, and probably just going to be working towards a BKB or a Necrobook as that next a big pickup. Trixie right now just making his way towards the Hand of Midas. Unfortunately, with his death and the bear death down on bot, he doesn't actually have a bear at the moment. So he's just trying to be sneaky in the jungle, but he's not really having a great time right now. And that Midas isn't going to be forthcoming for a while with that death. So we've just passed 6 minutes. NTH being pretty vigilant with their wards. This one was placed a little while after 0-0, so it's still giving some vision for them. We don't have a rune ward anymore for Fnatic. They've presumably got some observer wards somewhere. I'd like to say, yeah, Fly has some obs up. So just needs to go and place them whenever he's able, and just heading down that way right now. S4, without dying up on top, adds another kill to the tally, and now about 1.2k gold in the bank, so only 900 or so away from finishing up that blink. And right now, we should check in on what's happening with Loda. Last hits aren't really all that relevant since we've got towers falling and we don't really have contested farm aside from mid. I'm just going to switch it over to net worth from sort of here on out. I might toggle it back to last hits deny, so just to try and get an idea of what's been happening on mid. And we've got some interaction lines between Lone Druid and Lycan as Fnatic head into the Roshan pit under the guise of smoke. And look, under the veil of smoke, I suppose the better phrase, but looks like Fnatic gonna have absolutely no problems in bringing this down. And they haven't even popped the Howl, just the Feral Impulse, since it would be a bit of a giveaway. So, no, Howl is still. What am I talking about? Feral Impulse is the passive, Howl is the active ability, and that was a kill picked up on Hani over in the middle of nowhere. As NTH just chase him down, Bulldog finishing that one off. So, as I was distracted by my noobishness as far as Lycan was concerned, NTH add another kill to the board. Sorry about that one, guys. That was not my finest moment. So, yeah, there's no reason to get Howl when you've got the availability of points in Feral Impulse. Ignore me. So NTH in a pretty good spot right now. We've got the Aegis up. On Era, he's got his treads finished up as well, and we're going to have another quick pause as Era this time around disconnects from the game. We'll have a quick check in on the graphs. 2.5k, the XP lead with about 1.5k, the gold lead, both in favor of the Radiant right now. Anti-Mage contentedly farming away, and Bulldog ahead of anyone on Fnatic right now. I believe Valve have finally fixed it so that items on the courier are counted towards your net worth. So I can't make that gripe anymore as far as net worth is concerned, and everything is as you see it. Their actual net worth is now accurately reflected by the net worth graph. So kudos to Valve for fixing that one. Sorry about the idiocy about Feral Impulse versus Howl. That was just a bad call. Looks like Hani just got ganked by Batrider, just got ganked by S4, and the Shadow Demon, and Nature's Prophet, as he will, probably picked up the kill just because of some vision given by a point in Shadow Poison. So there was nowhere for Hani to really hide once that ultimate was bouncing around. So anyway, we're now back into the game. Tier 1 tower under pressure from for Fnatic right now. They've still got really good anti-push with No Tail, but I mean, NTH have been doing everything with pretty much 4 heroes right now, and Loda just happily farming away. Actually went for a fairly early game sort of setup right now. Still going back for the Battle Fury right now. But picks up a Poor Man's Shield and picks up some treads as well. Looking for the kill on No Tail. Looks like he's going to be able to get this one. No, maybe not. Has the Mana Void, but I mean, No Tail fairly healthy as far as mana is concerned, and still had the Chakra up as well for sort of a clutch save. Loda probably just a little bit wary of TP support coming in. Hani, unfortunately, going to be a long time for his blink, but they throw in Dream Coil on mid. S4 in trouble, pops the Firefly defensive disruption from EGM. Era pops his ult, nice Ice Path. Hani jumps through with the orb. S4 is going to drop, Illuminate over the top, brings down Ake. Era still chasing. EGM just being smacked away at right now. Bulldog gets the Sprout down, and they did have some vision up because of those poison stacks. EGM going to try and TP himself out. They get vision. The Illusory Orb actually just kills him off. Not very tanky on that Shadow Demon. And Fnatic very, very quickly get 3 kills on this middle lane. and pretty much bringing things back to par. Loda not really able to get too much done on bot, just grabbing himself a little bit more farm. It looks like Fnatic going to be able to turn this one into a tower as well. Ice Path going to connect on S4. Illuminate cops him as well. Will drop Macropyre there. Ake in the middle of everyone, just does some damage. One more right click will bring down Fly. Loda throws out the Mana Void, but it doesn't quite kill off No-Tail. He's forced into the trees. Few more seconds away from that blink. I think this creep is actually blocked in air. He's man-fighting. Vlad's keeping him healthy, but EGM enough to pop that Aegis. Loda just jumps out at the last second. Bulldog gets entangled by Trixie, who is still deciding to chase. Era has now respawned. But overall, not a bad exchange for NTH on mid. Just the Aegis and the Keeper of the Light brought down in exchange for S4, who just respawned, not really a super high level at the moment. So gets set back a little bit as far as that Blink Dagger is concerned, with sort of chain deaths, sort of back-to-back deaths, but still will have it at a fairly reasonable time, just from how well he farmed on mid, as you can sort of see from his last hits. Was really in control of that middle lane, Hani not having a fantastic time, and by comparison his blink is still a while away, though that middle lane effort did really help. And again, that bonus gold that they are just sort of bringing in from those towers between Lone Druid and Lycan is helping to keep Hani in a more stable position as far as the game is concerned. So good job there. We've got a second Dream Curl on Ake on bot, and Era's going to pop his ultimate as well, just accept his fate, and Fnatic going to be able to turn this one into another tier 1. NTH just not really the counter push. They're going to go for a push of their own on mid, jumping back behind the tower, able to bring down No-Tail, and should be able to make the tier 1 trade along with a goal. It's going to be a support guarding the tower dies, and both teams deciding that they want to continue pushing. There's a cooldown Liquid Fire proc ready to go, so Fly doesn't want to hit anything else aside from the tower. And Fnatic just pushing straight in. NTH, however, only S4 applying pressure on mid. He's got his Blink Dagger now finished up. Ake comes down to try and counter push a little bit, but the Wolves just absolutely shredding the tower, and the Siege Creep still alive, making very quick work of it. Nice deny from Ake, very well played. Have to say, I mean, Lena's animation is pretty prohibitive as far as just last hitting in general is concerned. So being able to bring down that tower, well, get the deny on that tower, absolutely clutch from him. Not a huge amount of gold denied to Fnatic, but every little bit counts. And it is a pretty close gold swing at the moment. Only about 500 in favor of Fnatic. Well, I've got about 1k experience in NTH's favor right now. Loda continues to farm, almost has his Battle Fury finished up. Yep, so it's almost finished right now. Just needs, well, actually has the Perseverance, so it is completely finished. As I say that, BKB is going to be finished for Era. Very quick timing on that one. With all of those towers, Hani manages to add a Blink Dagger to his arsenal as well. And Fnatic, I mean, while they don't have a lot more gold waiting for them, aside from this tier 2 tower on mid, they're in a much better spot than they were when they were down sort of 0 to 4 a little bit earlier on. So everybody farming quite well. Trixie was waylaid a little bit by that death on bot and then losing his bear as sort of insult to injury, so took him a while to finish up farming his, well, he had his Hand of Midas, but it's taken him a while to sort of get to the position that he's at right now. Ake comes up, S4 with the blink, jumps onto Trixie, Laguna Blade thrown out, but Trixie just so tanky, still alive. Bulldog pops the Nature's Wrath as well. We get an entangle up on Ake, No-Tail comes in. No Flame Break, however, so he's going to be able to TP himself out there as Hani jacks the rune. So S4, still 2 bottle charges up, should be fine. Probably won't have to head back to base, though may decide to anyway. And Loda just solo pushing on bot. Interesting to see whether or not, what the next item is going to be for him, whether it's going to be purely split pushing, or whether or not he's going to sort of leave that to Admiral Bulldog with his Lothars. So if it's going to be split pushing, it might just be a Vlad's. If it's going to be more fight oriented or just sort of more late game oriented, it's going to either be a BKB if he feels they need to fight early, or just straight into the Manta style, as would be sort of the standard build order. And Hani with this invis, making full use of it. It's going to fade in just a second, reveals himself to EGM, throws at the Dream Curl. The silence as well, no defensive disruption available. And the Wolves come out. The Soul Catcher actually grabs onto the Wolf And Fnatic get a pretty stealthy gank off. No attempt from Loda to try and stop that one. This farm train does not stop, and I mean, Loda just realizing that he needs to farm as much as he possibly can if NTH are going to be in a good spot as far as this game is concerned. Yes, Bulldog is going to be able to put out good right-click damage since he's going sort of a damage-oriented build with the Shadow Blade, but it's really going to be up to AM to bring down the big targets on Fnatic right now. And it could be trouble for him if Fnatic are able to just get up enough farm for even just a Basher on the Bear, a Basher on Lycanthrope, even an Abyssal Blade on Era would be absolutely terrifying for Loda in this game. And if he gets locked down, then all of his farm, I mean, is effectively nullified. So we can even see Fnatic just opting to throw down some sentries in camps right now. It's a temporary measure, but it's anything to stop Lodaberg just farming right now. And yeah, so Fnatic, being the aggressors, continuing to apply pressure. It's still a 2k experienced lead in favor of NTH right now, and about a 500 gold swing as well, despite them being behind in terms of towers. So their net worth is sort of shining through right now, but Hani's got some really, well, he's got his Blink Dagger finished up. He's not too unhappy with his position in this game. S4 just a little bit, getting close towards that 4 staff right now. Unfortunately, Fnatic sort of waiting around a little bit for Trixie to make his way back into this game. If we have a quick check in on hero level, you can see that he's, well, not really leading the pack. I guess the unfair comparison is to where Admiral Bulldog is at the moment, so a little bit behind as far as that's concerned. And Hani not having a great time either versus his counterpart S4, at least as far as levels are concerned. And that rank 2 Dream Coil, definitely not bad. I mean, the break stun's a little bit better, the break damage is a little bit better, but oh, Hani gonna get dragged up onto the high ground into the waiting arms of NTH. Bulldog comes in straight into an Ice Path. We're gonna pop his Shadow Blade, try and get this Sprout down. We've got to stack up on Fly as well. Attempted recall from No Tail, nicely played, but Fly is gonna drop as he takes a little bit of damage. And anything is enough to cancel that recall. So Fnatic now into defensive positions. They're going to have respawns in just a second. Dream Coil still available. NTH have popped a couple of ultimates to try and do this. They're going to get a Sprout down. Illuminate smacks into everybody. No real natural mech carrier on NTH either. Entangle up on S4. He's in trouble. Throws up the Flame Break. In comes Era. He's still got his BKB ready to go. Pops it now. S4 trying to make his way up into the high ground. Nice ground Sprout from Admiral Bulldog. Keeps S4 safe at least for a little while, but Hani's still chasing through. Throws down the Dream Coil as well. S4, revenge killed by Hani in the end, will drop as NTH scatter to the winds. Looks like they're going to be fine to make it out, however. So a nice defense from Fnatic, a bit of a clutch. Entangle gets them the opening that they needed to start off that team fight and Fly. And Hani, after a very brief death, will sort of rejoin things. Roshan is now respawned, so Fnatic looking towards that right now. They're going to send No Tail up towards top to try and stall Loda's push, but Loda might just jump him. He is pretty low at the moment, however, about half HP. Needs to, well, does need to be cautious. And yeah, just going to opt to back off. Fairly defensive play from Loda, sort of his style as a player. Just going to go for more farm as opposed to trying to apply too much pressure on this tower. And Fnatic, yeah, just happily take Roshan without S4 being up. Not a whole lot that NTH can do to contest, and a little bit more, very much needed experience going the way of Fnatic right now. So, oh, and Fly caught out again. S4, will he be able to make it all the way down into the low ground? He will not. Tries for a sneaky Flame Break right as the lasso wears off to bounce Fly down, but not quite. Doesn't quite get there in the end, and Fnatic now wandering their way over towards mid. Ready to counter this push. Loda in position to try and split push a little bit on top, but fairly low on life right now, so probably going to have to make at least one trip back to base. And Fnatic, it's a very obvious course for them right now. They're just charging down mid. They've got an Aegis in hand. They've got a 9-second BKB charge up on Era, and they are ready to push in right now. S4 already preparing the defenses. Gets that Firefly down. Illuminate, however, going to wipe out this creep wave in just a second, and Fnatic going to push in, but they are pushing in against counter push from both NTH, well, both Admiral Bulldog and from Loda. S4 is going to be jumped on mid, immediately goes down. Dream Coil only for him. Ake in trouble as well, however. The BKB Wolf gets a crit and absolutely dunks the Lina there. NTH, the decision is just going to be to go for these two tier 2s. The bottom one already gone. Admiral Bulldog now making his way up onto the high ground. NTH taking them a little while to bring down this tier 2 on mid. Will get it down, but in the end we'll decide to just TP back to base. Don't want to try and, well, don't want to take a Rax race right now. Era TP up towards top, and Loda just going to back himself out. Even just ferrying in some salves to make sure that he can stay up on this top lane as long as humanly possible. He does not want to have to go back to base. And NTH maybe just not feeling confident about their ability to take a full head-on engagement right now. Against the Fnatic lineup, they've just got so much damage bearing down. And that's a bad pun based on Lone Druid, but just the right click that Lycan plus Wolves plus Lone Druid plus Bear is bringing down right now is absolutely ridiculous from Fnatic. So we've got an Armlet finished up for Trixie as well, so he doesn't have a ton of farm, but the Bear is now doing, well, some very significant right click with that Armlet finished, and it's a very nice item. It's interesting to see how popular it's become in such a short period of time. And Trixie does a good job, puts his Hand of Midas on his hero so he gets experience whenever he uses it. So an important point for anybody who plays Lone Druid, I suppose. If you use the Midas while it's on the Bear, you're not even supposed to be able to, but if you use the Midas while it's on the Bear, you don't get any experience, because the experience is only given to the unit that uses the Midas, and the Bear obviously can't gain experience, and even if it could, I don't know if it would be worth it. NTH, bring everybody in to try and clear out the stack. Hani just waiting off to the side. Just scouts it out a little bit. S4 ready to go, but Hani turns it around with a Dream Coil. S4 walks his way out of that Ice Path. Not sure how. Laguna Blade finishes off one. Era jumps in. Fly. Gonna pop. Nice Mana Void from Loda. Now forced to blink himself away. The Bear coming in, but there's Firefly on the ground. NTH fairly low. Era just slapping away. One crit brings down Shadow Demon. Absolutely crazy. 3 for 2 the overall trade. Loda off to the side. Finds himself a double damage urn, but still not really able to man-fight the Lycanthrope at the moment, so... And that Desolator on Era just doing work. Overall, not the most favorable exchange for Fnatic, but there was... No, actually, S4 jumped first. Not sure why I'm checking buyback, so... S4 manages to bring down Hani, both supports die, and both supports on NTH die as well, so I guess a pretty much even trade. Speaking of even, we'll have a quick check in on experience and gold. XP about 3k in, well, Era might die to these illusions, but no, maybe not. Looks like he's fine. As I say that, Trixie's gonna die. Trixie's gonna die down in the Radiant jungle to S4 and Admiral Bulldog. Not sure why he was farming there, but I guess maybe feeling a little bit confident. NTH has some pretty good vision over anything crossing the river right now. So with that death, let's go back to the graphs. It's about a 5k experience lead now in favor of NTH, and about a 4k gold lead as well. I do believe we've still got the Aegis up for Era. He's still got about a minute left with that one, so probably won't be able to get too much done with it. It's getting more and more difficult as they're forced to sort of threaten tier 3s. And so long as NTH are being diligent with their split pushing, then they can get into position to split push whenever Fnatic should have come in. So Fnatic are really relying right now on... Oh, what am I doing? Hani solo kills Arcade on bot. My map awareness for some reason has been failing me these last 2 casts. Sorry about that one, guys. But getting engrossed in talking about split pushing. Fnatic really need to be making use of the fact that they can leave somebody back to defend, and then have Keeper of Light bring somebody in. Alternatively, they can wait until Coddle farms some Boots of Travel, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. And speaking of Coddle, he's just being dragged back by S4 into the waiting Loda. Gets the Blinding Light down. Ice Path connects on 2. Notail's still alive. Pops the mech. Trixie comes in. Loda able to bring down Notail, but still now being chased by Era. Nice Sprout from Admiral Bulldog. S4 the target. In a little bit of trouble for Staff, however, in 1 second, gonna go for the cliff, pops himself over the top, and now Blink Dagger has cooled down. Looks like he's gonna be absolutely fine. But EGM, now the target, Hani and Era still chasing. Looks like got blocked a little bit by the Wolves, perhaps. Stun flies out, does not connect. Hani just regenning himself up, pops the haste, and we're still chasing Scythe of Ice up for Nature's Prophet. And all of Fnatic ready to go on mid, trying to just charge down right now. Top is under a little bit of under a little bit of pressure. They have lost the Aegis as well. That might be enough of a signal for Fnatic just to decide to back off and farm. I mean, Era still has one all-important item left to farm, and that's going to be the Abyssal Blade to try and deal with Loda. And with that stun, which will go through BKB, I mean, he's sort of nullifying all of Loda's farm. It's a bit of a fight for farm right now, but as you can see, the Lycan just able to fairly easily punch the Anti-Mage right now. Loda 4.4k gold up at the bank is by far the most farmed hero on the map, but all of that farm means nothing if Era, can burst him down in the duration of an Abyssal Blade stun. So we'll have to see. I mean, he might even need to consider, somebody might even need to consider getting an AC on NTH right now. Could even be S4, but Era going to be jumped here. They get the Hex. Loda's still going. Era will be popped by the Mana Void. No, will fly off to the side. Not able to get too much done to try and save Era there. So nicely played. Well ganked from NTH and well calculated aggression, I suppose, there. I mean, aggressive plays aren't really their style, but seeing heroes on the rest of the map and realizing that Era was alone, knowing that they could go for that one. And now that they've got the Hex up on Admiral Bulldog, there is constantly that global threat from NTH, so gonna take the opportunity just to try and get something done up on top, pushing in every lane aggressively right now. Fnatic, despite Era being dead, they're gonna smoke a couple of heroes and try and use Trixie as a little bit of bait. Really liking the play right now. Ake is gonna walk up. He is solo, support not too far away. Bulldog actually being baited as well. Hani jumps in, pops the dust, spots Bulldog. There's the Dream Coil. Bulldog gonna break it, trying to run himself away. Still has a Hex. Looks like he's gonna drop. Turns around, Hexes. Will die. Fly chasing down S4. Just gonna slide himself down onto the low ground. Is absolutely fine. So Fnatic get themselves a sneaky gank as well. Nicely played. And will buy themselves some time at least to get these lanes pushed out. And while Bulldog is dead, Era can now feel a little bit happier about heading down towards bot to try and push, well, just try and get this lane equilibrium back. He is now working his way towards that Basher, so Abyssal Blade coming along in the next couple of minutes. Looks like Loda's spent some gold. It's actually going to be a butterfly for him, so I guess anticipating that Basher a little bit. Still not enormously survivable, and if he does get bashed, then he's in big trouble, but his damage output is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And this could even just be an additional split pushing item for him right now. We'll have to see. And Trixie, what is he working towards? Wouldn't be too surprised to see a second Basher being worked on by Trixie, but we could even just see a Maelstrom or an MKB still coming along from him. So Fnatic are going to push in on mid, NTH just avoiding for now. Ake actually split pushing on top, needs to be pretty cautious. Loda able to get this done more or less by himself, and Ake will be needed to defend pushes elsewhere. So it looks like NTH, yep, just going to leave Loda to push. Support's going to back off to farm, and Admiral Bulldog doing his thing on bot. Just applying pressure right now. Fnatic, they're only a little way away from the next Roshan, so they're trying to get themselves into position for that. NTH, a similar story for them. They're going to be difficult trying to fight into the Roshan pit, given that they are on the Radiant side, so Fnatic, they've now got the Basher finished up on Era. They pop the smoke, but it's right underneath a Radiant Ward, and I'm sure if I was a broadcaster, we'd be seeing furious pings right now. Fnatic gonna reveal themselves for an illusion. The illusion would not have dispelled their smoke. I'm not sure why they auto-attacked that anti-mage illusion there. Maybe realizing that NTH had vision somehow or something along those lines, but NTH are well aware of what is going on. Let's get an Invis rune waiting to go for S4 as well, and both teams just positioning themselves around Roshan right now. Potentially a bit of a premature Firefly from S4, but no, it finds Fly and gets him all the way down into the river. The Flame Break as well, trying to bounce him up onto the other side. Laguna Blade gonna finish him off. Hani now on the retreat, gonna blink himself out, and Fnatic now in a little bit of trouble. Fly really getting caught out in those trees there. And on the back foot, just hoping to tend to this zone at the moment to prevent NTH going in and taking Rosh. Looks like Loda is just going to continue to farm. Probably make his way up towards top as well. Apply some pressure. But For now, Fnatic just waiting around for Fly to respawn and hopefully get these lanes pushed out enough. Oh, S4! Oh, just revealed from the invis. There's no support ready. Maybe with Admiral Bulldog TPing in, there would have been enough damage to kill off Era. And No Tail blinks Era. Okay, so No Tail just used his recall to move Era about 200 units, and then Era got bounced up onto the high ground and now has to walk all the way back. So S4, with the cheekiest play of the century, manages to stall Rosh out for a little bit. There is a Treant scouting as well, and S4 with his ultimate off cooldown again, ready to go and try and pluck someone out of the pit. But it buys Lotus some time to get some damage down on the top tower. Still playing very defensively, doesn't want to get caught out by a blinking, silencing puck. Unfortunately, Hani, with all of his deaths, still a ways away from his Hex, which would be a huge boon against the anti-mage right now. And that start that S4 got off to mid and those ganks from the supports early on translating into a fairly big deal now in the later stages of the game. Just with Hani's net worth not really where you would expect it to be for a puck at this stage in the game, but very aggressive play from, well, good aggressive play from NTH, and some nice focus fires really prevented him from being able to farm that up. So Fnatic, they're going to go for a smoke. I love the plays. They're really going for it right now. Trixie, what's he working towards? It's going to be a basher as well. They really want the lockdown. S4 gets caught, finished off by the illusory orb, and now low to the target. Preferable that S4 gets brought down, but Loda may be in trouble as well. Era rolls for the bash on that one swing, but doesn't quite get it. And Trixie just gets the deny off on the tower on mid. Hyperstone the pickup for him as well, just working its way towards an AC for even more pushing power for NTH. And we're going to have a buyback from S4 as Fnatic make their way over to the Roshan pit. Loda, choice from him is to stay. No, it's not going to be just indecision. Blinks into the trees and then now heads back up towards top. Looks like NTH maybe not going to actually contest. Loda's going to show his face right at the tower. Creeps aren't there just yet and Roshan's already gone. That Desolator just doing too much work. Flamebreak doesn't knock anybody up into the high ground. Trixie tries to TP out. Has the cheese, gets dragged a long way. Look at the blade, but the Force Staff sends him back up onto the high ground. Whose Force Staff was that? Looks like it was Hani. Nicely played from him. No Tail in a little bit of trouble. Pops the mech, still alive. S4 with a flame break in just a second with the Dream Call. Turn around with the Entangle as well. S4 is going to drop. The Illuminate finishes him off. However, Loda all the while has been chipping away. Well, not even chipping away, slashing away at that top Rax. Brings it down. So it's Roshan and a kill in exchange for a Rax. But Fnatic, I'm not sure how concerned they are about a single Rax. They're really just looking to finish this game with a hammer fall at one moment. If they can win a convincing team fight in a situation where somebody has already bought back or just bought a big item, between the Desolator and just all the pushing power that they have, they can just churn down mid. Either take all three Raxes in one fell swoop, or they can just go for end as well. So we'll have to see. And Ake gets caught on top, split pushing. Not sure what the go is. They're trying to get a little bit of warding done, in fact, to try and make Loda feel safer as far as his split pushing is concerned, but it gets spotted out by Fnatic's wards and will just die in the end. To no avail. There is a gem up on Hani as well, as you can see. He's got a Force Staff picked up. That Force Staff did work for Trixie in the river. Really nicely played. So, deciding that he can't, I guess, work his way towards a Hex right now. Though Anti-Mage just got so much gold that he can even buy a BKB if need be. But Loda, he's actually got a Sacred Relic picked up right now, so it looks like it might just be an Abyssal Blade from him as well. It's going to become a battle of the focus fire from both sides. Loda, if he jumps on anyone and pops Abyssal Blade and Manta Style, they are dead. They are dead to rights. Even someone like Lone Druid at this point is a fairly susceptible target, but if he gets bashed, or if he gets Abyssal Bladed as well, that's going to be trouble. S4 gets the pick off on the retreating THD. Not an enormously significant grab there. And Admiral Bulldog going to try and TP himself out. Hex up on Hani. Nicely done there. Lodeberg on the way out has almost managed to bring down the tier 3 tower. on mid and gonna be able to do so. Trixie not able to kill off these illusions, just too much mischance. And well, I guess still working his way towards that AC, but the disadvantage of not having that MKB against the anti-mage in this situation. So Fnatic now feeling a little bit more naked. They've got Boots of Travel up on Lycan. They've still got a couple of minutes left with that Aegis, about 3, but the problem is just dealing with this non-stop push, and at this point, No Tail is just not enough to deter things. And there isn't really a single hero that can, well, you know, stall NTH too much between Bulldog and Loda, so they can't just leave one defender back and then recall them into the fight when they need. And if NTH even suspect that that's going on, they can just TP. Well, they can just TP the Nature's Prophet, get some damage down on whoever's trying to TP in, and from there take an easy fight 4v5. So Fnatic feeling very cautious right now about what's going on. There isn't any vision in the base from NTH, but that's just because Fnatic do have a gem at the moment. So normally we would expect to see some vision in the Radiant base, but NTH just haven't really been able to do it. But still maintaining some good vision over the river, keeping the paths covered, and now just converging in, bringing every lane through top lane, naturally pushing in because of that Rax. And Bulldog now with a Daedalus, putting out some ridiculous DPS. Looking pretty good for NTH right now. And they're just not fighting Fnatic head on, which is honestly where Fnatic want to be. They want to hit people, they want to fight, they want to, you know, wipe out No Tidehunter and win the game, but it's just, they're just being denied the opportunity at every single turn. And even if they kill NTH's heroes, a lot of them do have buyback available right now. So we've got that Abyssal Blade finished up on Loda. He's got another 3.4k gold in the bank, 27k net worth, 740 gold per minute. This is a split pushing anti-mage gone nuts. And just does a huge amount of damage with this build. There's not a whole lot of survivability to it, but he's survivable in the right ways. He's got survivability against the Lycan, he's got survivability against the Lone Druid, and so long as he doesn't get locked down, then he's absolutely fine. Era buys some Boots of Travel instead of finishing off that Abyssal Blade, so it doesn't have that lockdown to try and bring down Anti-Mage, but it may not even, I mean, an Abyssal Blade may not have even been enough. Yeah, okay, so Admiral Bulldog gets caught out on top. Hani and Trixie make quick work of him. Does he have buyback available? He does. So NTH can still try and go for something here if S4 can find a pick off. He's all the way up onto the high ground, manages to grab Fly one more time, gets him down onto the low ground, and Loda just chops him to ribbons there. Now we've got buybacks from both Fly and Admiral Bulldog, and Bulldog, decision from him, going to be heading down towards bot, try and get some pressure applied there, and NTH still just very evasive tactics from them right now. Playing the objective, they're just trying to bring down buildings. You don't win the game by killing your opponent, you win the game by killing their barracks, you win the game by killing their throne. Yes, killing your opponents is a great way to enable those secondary objectives, well, enable those primary objectives, sorry. But it's not the objective in and of itself, so despite that, NTH still actually leading by 1 kill. They're up over 15k experience and up almost 20k gold. Loda's just been absolutely farming up a storm. Now level 25, BKB in hand as well, and pretty much primed and ready to fight, I believe, with that pickup. So we'll probably see that from him. Aegis is now despawned from Era. Doesn't quite have his Abyssal Blade just yet. Might just hang on to buyback. I've got a BKB up on a Bulldog as well. And yeah, I mean, if NTH can even just do a 4v5 distract, they can have either Anti-Mage or Nature's Prophet just take a secondary Rax, and S4 gets another drag down on Hani. They get the gem out of it as well. And EGM with his own gem just going to choose to deny Fanatics. And is there a buyback on Hani? There is. Tier 3 already gone. NTH straight up onto the high ground. Bulldog still at top. The Bear just right-clicking away on Loda. Can they bring him down? BKB up now, going for No Tail. Pops his Ghost after Trixie. In a little bit of trouble. The Laguna Blade brings down one. Loda in trouble. Does he have buyback? Tries to blink himself out. The bashes, the roots, too much. S4 pops the Force Staff down at the low ground, stunned by that Dream Coil. Loda with the buyback. Straight back into the fight. Bulldog running himself away. Gets the Sprout, but not quite enough to save him. Gets brought down. No buyback right now for... Well, no buyback right now for Bulldog. And Loda with the fresh buyback. Hani jumps in. S4 is going to drop Fnatic. Huge team fight from them. Supports just forced to back themselves out. And NTH going to have to take the time to collect their thoughts. Figure out what happened. There's 2 minutes until the next Roshan, so they will be able to contest it. But Fnatic, what's the play from them? There's no split pushing. Well, there's no split pushing Nature's Prophet, but there's a double damage anti-mage jumping in with his Abyssal Blade. There's a disruption up as well. Fly in trouble. Nice Ice Path connects, however. The Bear just going to work, going to try and bring down the two supports. Ghost Scepter's pop. Manta Style from Loda just slapping away at Arrow right now. BKB, the bash, the bash, the bash. Loda gets brought down. Now EGM soon to follow Loda. No buyback. 100 seconds. And No Tail ready to defend. Is this going to be it? Fnatic ready to go mid. This has to be the call. They've got Desolator. They've got an AC as well. Buildings are no threat at all to Fnatic right now. And the Bear and his buddy the Wolf are ready to go. Buyback from the supports. Straight up onto the high ground. What's the call going to be? Are they just going to go for a tier 3 and then go for end? Or it's just going to be multiple Raxings here? It's still 70 seconds away from AM, only 10 seconds away from Bulldog. Fnatic gonna back themselves out. Ake slapped down by the Bear. Good disruption up on Era. No BKB, however. Stun will not connect. In comes Hani. Dream Coil on 2. S4 in trouble, being brought down. The Dream Coil stun breaks them there. In comes Bulldog. He's ready to go. The tier 3 already gone. Waiting off to the side. Summons up some trains, just trying to stall, but the buildings, no obstacle to Fnatic right now. The Bear, just look at the damage. Was Demonic Purge thrown out? It has been. Era fairly low on life, but still wants to try and make a go of this. Roshan's going to respawn in just a few seconds as well. That might be the target here right now for Fnatic. And Fnatic, can they cover their tracks adequately this time around? Don't let S4 get the pick off. They actually get a bash. Honey jumps in as well. S4 now in trouble. He's going to go down. There's a disruption up on No Tail, but he's still alive, and he can bring Era back to the fight at any time, as he does right now. And Fnatic still getting the pickoffs. EGM with the Ghost Scepter still alive right now. But Fnatic, are they just going to go for end? AM 3 seconds away. Bulldog, he's in the jungle right now. Ready to go back for the final defense, but the tier 4s are already dropping Era. Slapping away the AC Aura, the Dezo bringing everything so low. Now onto the Ancient. There isn't a fortification. Loda jumps in. Force Staff away on Trixie. Loda jumps out. He's still got the BKB, but they haven't brought down the important targets. Era with the BKB. They're going to go for the finish. They get it. Fnatic pull it out. Well played by them. An all-important turnaround with a fight for the bottom rack. Sees Fnatic charge all the way down mid, rolling pickoffs, and go in for the win. I've been Basekip. This has been the Dreamhack Invitational, the Dreamhack Dota Invitational. This was a replay between NTH and Fnatic, game 3 of a best of 3 set, and Fnatic going to be walking away with the win. Sorry about some of the mechanics mistakes and whatnot in the questionable mechanics calls in the game, guys. Missed a couple of kills as well. Again, replay caster practice, always working on it. If you guys have any feedback for me as far as these replays or any replays are concerned, leave a comment or send me an email at basekipdota@gmail.com. If you guys have any replays that you'd like me to cast, the same story applies. Just leave a comment, send me a message. Match ID is fine. If it was a private game, you need to send me the replay itself or a link to the replay. And I'm more than happy to cast it as part of my daily practice. So thanks everyone for tuning in. It's been great having you along for the ride. I'm going to be doing a lot more of this tournament over the next few days. Again, 7 replays a week is the target. I'm only uploading about 1 a day, and I know I'm a little bit behind right now, so things are going to be sporadic. There's going to be 3 replays on some days and 1 replay on others, but yeah, that's going to be it for today. I've been Basekip.